Welcome back to Gollum. So
The game that keeps on giving and giving and giving chores, among other things.
okay, so
Also, why do those slaves get to lay down on the job while we have to work?
I think they're dead, aren't they?
Oh, no, like, I noticed one of their heads moving, so either that was the wind blowing the corpse, or they're still alive.
Or we're about to. Hi.
Oh.
Well, here's one tag.
Thanks for telling. Yeah, that guy's definitely dead.
Extreme heat slows Gollum down. Not that it really matters in the grand scheme of things, so don't worry about it.
And by slow down, we mean slow down the actual frames of motion. Like, see, now a good game would have made it so that visually he is, like, you know, distressed or tired out by the heat, but nope, just like slow down the frames.
I guess
of his
I'd rather
running
still
cycle.
take that over a stamina meter that drops immediately at the minimal sign of it.
Which, yeah, didn't we have that stamina meter earlier?
Or only for climbing.
Well, actually, too, it also works for running too.
Okay.
Captain! What? One of your men crawled up that tunnel over there.
Oh.
Be working. Special mission. Oh, I see.
I'm guessing he's talking about us.
No.
That's the last one, yes? Could be more. Sneaker wants to sleep. Just
one
little
more.
Further, sweet one, just a little.
Okay, I guess the composer had to wake up.
I know, right? Like, okay, suddenly dynamic music.
And that's it.
Oh, now we have to escape the lava, don't we?
And Gollum just collapses.
Oh.
What is it,
Oh.
Brainbore?
Maybe it's like in the Family Guy skit of this. Like,
Yeah, he lost his contact
it lost his
line.
contact. Where is it? Where is it? Nobody move! Nobody move! Where is it?
Remember who you are.
Yeah, I guess I would have accepted if the Sauron was voiced by James Earl Jones.
Drink what? Drink what? Fire?
Stop and drink. You're parched.
I don't know.
Okay, so now let's listen to the frail man's plan.
Seen him climb like one.
I'm small as a child. He will never make it to the bridge.
Well, I'm not hearing you coming up with any ideas. Oh God, your eyes.
Yeah.
Well, Mr. Smarty Pants, I don't hear you coming up with any better ideas, do I?
And look at his beard. It's alive.
Yeah,
I already mentioned that in one of the previous
it's because every time he talks, it's like the beard has an erection. It's just like
like he said, my guess is that during testing, when he talked, the beer instead clipped through his chest, so he literally went the opposite direction.
Yeah.
Fight or keep eating dirt. It's your
Here's
choice.
an idea. If you can't animate it properly, don't give him a beard.
Listen, just climb up.
They're trying to get across that he's old, so.
Like I said, Unreal was never particularly... The Unreal Engine 4 always gave some kind of problem with facial hair in some capacity, unfortunately.
I'm sorry, but I've seen
I
hair.
don't know why Unreal 3 was actually better. That's probably because they were texturing a block rather than having every single filament.
I'm sorry, even with that, I have seen several projects that don't have hair this badly. Okay, maybe when Unreal 4 was starting out, I could see something like this happening. But I'm sorry, having something like this happening this late into Unreal 4's life is just... either you're a noob, or you don't know what you're doing. And granted, this was Daedalus' first type of game of this caliber, but again, if they couldn't make it work, then don't put in the beard.
This is not like the hair in the Luminous engine, which looks like it's trying to give me a seizure of how much it flickers.
Oh god. Like, yeah, seriously, the protagonist of Heavenly Sword might as well have been Medusa.
No, I'm not talking about that. I'm
Lost
talking
their Prince to something else.
Forspoken, or even Final Fantasy 15 to a lesser extent.
Yeah, Noctis hair is something particular.
What are you doing?
Right, Forspoken, that came out not too long ago. Alright, so, what shall we do with this here? Yes?
That
area.
that pen back totally tells me a lot, and definitely gives me a clue a clue about about the progress. Whatever.
Hey,
moving on.
Newsflash.
Have a look.
Hey, newsflash. Super Mario Sunshine, a game back in the early 2000s, when you start a mission, actually, gives you a hint of what you're supposed to do when you start the level.
He's dirt eater. Smeagol tried, but he can't read ashes and drink from nasty fire lakes.
That's no excuse.
Oh yeah, not with that attitude.
Man's head, but the orcs want us dead.
Wow, yeah, unless you're using the camera, that's kind of a blind jump there.
Just like dogs.
The ceiling! God damn. That is dickish. I hate when devs do that kind of stuff.
What are you going to say? I hate it when that happens.
Dirt eater, that's who we are. He's dirt eater. Smeagol tried, but he can't
Waves,
read
what
ashes
kind of
and
King's
drink
Quest
from nasty
ask
fire
that line
lakes.
would be appropriate for a situation like
Nice
that?
reward for
I guess Gollum couldn't handle the heat.
Perfect.
Yeah.
I guess he couldn't.
And then every time Gollum fails a climbing section, the narrator says, "Come on, Gollum, get a grip of the situation."
There.
You know, honestly, some King's Quest-esque puns wouldn't be too out of place here, seeing as
Well,
how-
considering the roots of this developer, yeah.
To be fair, no, Pedro, because the Deponia is more based around LucasArts, which
Sure,
has not
sure.
had dev puns because Ron Gilbert made an entire point to not wanting to be as geekish as Sarah and part of the dev scenes.
Alright, let's move on.
And this music again.
We tie him to the wall.
Again,
It's weird, the game was going for more,
Sometimes the music is, fits well in the ambient of what's going on. Other times it just gets out of nowhere.
The problem is there's no rhyme or reason. Like, a lot of times the game goes for atmospheric, but then suddenly out of nowhere we'll actually get these bombastic tunes, and like, we don't get why. It's not like there's often a drastic change in stuff going on, it's just like someone in the recording studio accidentally played an epic soundtrack they were saving for another game and went, oh crap,
Yeah, I
well,
think
might
it's
as well
more
leave
of a
it in.
problem of the programming of the game rather than the composer himself. Sure, as we noted, apparently this was his only job until this point. But again, yeah, it's more of a case of the makers did not know well where to place, and they just did commission to him a set of,
Alright, let's go.
a set of tracks to use, and they then decided where to put them.
I do honestly feel sorry for anyone who is excited to work on a Lord of the Rings project and have this be their first ever Lord of the Rings thing to work on.
But to be fair, Job, Rings of Power came around the same time. They probably could have just stumbled into that instead. Again, regardless of its quality, it's probably a more enjoyable product than this one.
Possibly. Yeah, Lord of the Rings fans have had it a
Like
bit
I'm
rough
sure the
the
music will
last
be
few
better for a
years.
start.
Yeah, like, and you know what? I'm not knocking the idea of an
Oh yeah, this big here.
soundtrack.
So there you go, we
but
found... Well, so the idea is that we put this redstone in here so we can blow this shit up.
Explosive barrel, if you forgot, yeah.
Now in goes the redstone.
Alright, now escape!
Might wanna run, yeah.
Whoa!
Oh,
Okay, did you know? Yeah, yeah, you'd think the camera would change according to my running and shit, but I guess not. Alright, so what you have to do is, again, move the camera on yourself, there you go, so you can see where the fucking thing is. Like, It's one of those things where it's just like, okay, I have to run and escape quickly. So could you?
And you die.
Wait.
And I
You
died.
died while there was a camera pan. What? That's
How did you die
cheating.
there?
There you go. This is what you're
so
supposed
you're
to do.
supposed to do that instead of letting the camera pan.
Basically,
Of course.
yes, basically. Which begs the question: why did you even give me a prompt to take a look at that bit there, then? If I can't do that, like.
Bird up.
Uh-oh, the bird is on to you. Truly, this will be Gollum's greatest foe.
And a little bit of flickering there. Why not?
So are we finally out of jail now?
You wish. The next morning.
Morning.
I'm guessing
jail
you-
simulator.
And here's the
Oh, right.
and here's the cruel woman. I'm not kidding. Her name is
What
Cruel
your
Woman.
silence is supposed to tell me.
Again, still not beats,
Not one of you
big
has seen
guy.
anything, heard anything, done
Is she
anything.
supposed to be a certain species, or is she still a human?
She looks human to me.
Dark Luminarian Jova. Basically human, but corrupted and evil.
So works for
No.
Sauron, of course.
Yeah.
Except for this
All right, so
No.
what do you want from us, Cruel Woman?
Okay, why does it still look all blurry here? Like, usually when you close in on someone, they're supposed to look clearer, but no, they look blurry close up. Jesus Christ.
Maybe they're trying to hide how bad her model looks. I don't know.
They were doing the same with Gollum, too. Which, okay, to be fair, his model is not stellar.
So basically, she wants us to confess who put us up to this, as in the Frail Man, obviously. And if we tell her, we will not suffer, or something like that. So once again, I'm going for a Smeagol run. So let's try to convince Gollum.
Don't tell the precious. Blame it on someone else. The orc. Let him die instead. They will know. They will know.
2 detonations.
How will they know Gollum exactly?
One on either side. We had eyes on your side. Who was on the other?
Let's be. Not necessarily.
Well, the orc did steal their bread.
Let's go hate. Let's be hateful. Orcs stole our bread, so
Our bread.
yeah.
It's ours, and he steals it.
Basically, I'm trying to appeal to Gollum's hatred because I feel like
Yeah.
appealing to his hatred probably would convince him.
Did you say a name? Speak louder.
But the frail man looks hungry too. He has no bread for
I'm
us.
guessing if you go the Gollum route, you don't have to convince Smeagol. because
connections.
Smeagol's more of a pushover.
Yeah, we need to make connections, Gollum. Come on.
And still he lives, has survived so many years. Someone must give him bread. All his friends, they must. They owe us, don't they? Yes, they do. Make him give their bread to us.
You're scared. A scared little thing. Someone used you.
What
Someone
is she
deceived
thinking
you.
while he's
Or I
talking to himself?
One name, and you're free.
Like, I know that she's giving the speech, but for all she knows, he's just having these big pauses in speech, and then she's just saying more and more of this and that.
Always going on
So-
about the heat. Oh, it's
Right,
getting
so
us,
Pedro, have you ever tried doing a
it's
Gollum
getting
option
us.
to see what that's like?
No, because I'm going for a Smeagol run. And like I said, I actually, at least so far, I think all of the Smeagol options feel like the more
What's up with the other ones?
clever ways to get out of situations, I think.
Oh, definitely. I'm just wondering if you have to convince Smeagol if you're doing the Gollum routes, that's all.
Oh no, you do,
Otherwise,
It's always the same thing, Joe. You either convince Gollum to not kill people, or you convince, or rather, to be more general, not to do something bad, or you convince Smeagol, no, we have to do this bad thing because survival and shit.
Yeah, I was
From what I
just
can tell,
wondering if-
from what I can tell, the plot doesn't really diverge. It's mostly just flavor text, most likely. I seriously
But
thought.
the morality
It
system.
will basically do the telltale thing of changing one particular thing at the end, but I will not say which one it is.
Okay then.
Oh, you checked ahead on the Gollum ending?
I know already the story, Jova.
For you.
Already know the story. Anyway, Did we really need that fade to black?
I know, right? Like, just give us this objective. Like,
what exactly did you need to load? The text saying new objective?
I thought we were out of the days of Sonic 06 of needing to load a pointless sequence.
I'd say enter the Dragonfly, because that loads a loading screen.
Yeah.
That came before Sonic 06, babe. So.
Yeah, I know, but I think that's worse, because at least Sonic 06 loads something instead of another loading screen.
Alright, so back to our cell.
Everybody's pointing at him. Snitch!
Hey, that freak get back from the tower. What? He's back.
What's going on?
Quiet, Snares. No breaks today for no one until all traitors are dead. Look at that.
And there we go. You got nothing to say, Phil? And apparently the old man has nothing to say.
As if there's anything else to do.
It's useless anyway, just as I thought. Even if you'd make it into the tower,
So-
there is no way out. Unless you want to swim. Under the execution chamber, see? That must be the sewers.
I'm
where
not
they
even
make
sure
the
what kind of
mold.
accent is he going
But it
for.
appears they won't even let you into
Possibly
the execution
Arabian.
chamber. Which makes me wonder
Is there
Sounds
a...
Russian to me.
See, as a general rule of thought, Jova, the human civilization of the East are supposed to reflect several types of Asian civilization, like China, Mongolia, and Persia, Arabia. So maybe this guy's from Arad.
Alright, so let's apologize.
Smeagol didn't know. He doesn't want the frail man to have a glorious end.
I am sorry. You did well today. I will be blamed.
Basically, the guy, the fellow man was telling us, if you betray me, you're fucked and shit like that. So,
So could it be seen as the frail man manipulating us?
The
Or
next
just being
morning.
logical?
What time is it?
Okay, you know what? I want to say there was an opportunity for them to maybe build off more the relationship with Gollum and the frail man.
The great
But the game doesn't do much with that either, since a lot of times they spend split up too.
go to the mustering yard again.
Let it be known. I'm trying to find
I
ways
was-
this game
I was
works
starting.
out, but
I was starting to see a pattern here.
I guess it might be a case of, you know, okay, maybe not intentionally, but at least we're conveying the idea of, you know, time losing its meaning in such an oppressive environment.
I think you might be giving the game more credit than it deserves, but you know what? I'll run with that headcanon.
Considering, you know, if you've seen any, because there are a lot of, you know, type of jailbreak movie of this kind, I get the idea it's an easy thing to replicate more than anything.
Everyone else, well, none of you will be eager to meet the candleman.
This
Shall
guy's
we
very
then?
fruity.
Breathing, breathing.
My father has many qualities, but forbearance is not among them. And after his little puppy died in your care, shouldn't we spare
So is this
him
cruel
any
woman
further
supposed to be a
disappointment?
character from the lore too?
No, like I said, most of, aside from, you know, a few, most of these characters are basically original creation, do not steal. Like I said,
No
they still
problem.
work with what the kind of setting that this is, but they are not having any particular inspiration from the books or the movies.
I'm more bothered by her uniform. It looked like she came straight out of a Star Wars prequel.
So, essentially, I like the outfits in the Star Wars prequels. Things.
Again-
If anything, I'd compare it more to the holiday special anyway.
Yeah.
But, so essentially, yeah, this is kind of like what the Shadow of Mordor / Shadow of War series
Chapter
was,
3,
except that was for the,
The
Jackson
Breeder.
verse, and this is for the Tolkien
I don't
verse.
wanna have this game portraying sex in any kind.
Oh God, Gollum.
Well, that's okay, Teo, because in the lore we're going to go into detail about orc breeding.
Oh, that's basically told to us. We don't really get to see.
True.
That's what I mean.
Maybe that's what we need. We need a game to tell us.
Oh my
God, Gollum! Did Gollum just go Super Saiyan? What the fuck was that?
It looks like it.
Darksiders game for a second.
Super Gollum.
Wait. You can go Super and Darksiders?
Well, the first game, Fury's hair can become colored like that during one of her power-ups.
Interesting.
Alright, so let's follow the orc breeder.
I'm planning on recording them at some point, so you'll be able to see.
The orc breeder, as in this orc is the alpha male to all the female orcs, and he impregnates all of them or something.
Okay,
I don't know.
I'm guessing two things. One is responsible for the beast breed, or two is responsible for the creation chambers.
Also, the frame rate on that liquid, yikes.
Yeah. Okay, so the goal here is we have to find a total of 5 feeders, and just spill them. Basically, that's basically it. To their credit, this once again leading to another thing where we start following the cruel woman to find out some shit about her and shit like that. But first we have to do this chore. Moving on.
Again, don't get me wrong. This playthrough has given us plenty to work with. I am certainly not bored by what we have discovered to be broken, but the actual game itself just feels so lackluster and everything. Even I'm guessing the Cruel Woman is supposed to be a villain, so even the villain doesn't catch my interest. And I know that they're trying. They give her all these grandiose speeches and big vocabulary and everything, and that liquid frame rate, Jesus. But like pretty much everything else in the game, she feels half-baked at best. Maybe she'll have a big culminating moment or something. And it's not just because she's not tied to the lore, because, look, Shadow of Mordor and Shadow of War were perfectly fine in introducing new characters that we were interested in and felt like they could fit into the Jacksonverse. This is trying to do for the Tolkienverse what those games did for the Jacksonverse by giving us that new lore, new characters, but well, part of the problem is tying them to Gollum. We know it will not matter in the long run for Gollum's character because we know how he turns out. Even if he forms bonds, we know that he'll eventually have to go back to being kind of a dirty, rotten coward who tries to murder people by the time of the story of Lord of the Rings. Now, granted, this could potentially add layers to his character. The problem is, again, even the ideas that I mentioned, with them trying to build off of his development with people like the old frail man or the cruel woman, the game doesn't feel like it's doing that. Maybe it will later, but again, we're I'd say 3 or 4 hours into the game at this point, and it still feels like not much has happened.
Yeah, because I feel like if you wanted to make a Gollum game, maybe do something. Okay, remind me too, because it's been a while. If I remember correctly, in the trilogy of books / movies, the proper main entries, right? There are times where Gollum and Frodo separate and then get reunited again, right?
Not really.
Oh no? Okay, then I must be mistaken for something else then. Maybe just okay. Obviously, you can't do the origin story because it's already been told before.
But it's also not just that, Pedro. Remember, after that origin story, Gollum spends the next 500 years in the same kind of cave in the middle of the Misty Mountains, which provides an even more kind of secluded and sterile environment compared to this. If anything, I get the idea of what they try to do. It's more, again, it's more of problem of summing of the parts rather than thinking about it.
because of the benefit of the major benefit of making a prequel based on a specific character is to provide extra backstory to either recontextualize the events of the stories you're making a prequel to, or to make the character, to add even more backstory to the character to make him even more interesting than he was before. A good example of that, of course, is in Monsters University, where the character of the main characters in Monsters Inc., Mike was probably the one that didn't get the most of it, because let's face it, like Monsters Inc. is a story about Sully and Bo, whereas Mike is more.
The thing is,
go on.
The thing is, you have a point, because Mike is prominent, but he's not per se one of the main protagonists.
No, which is why when then
he's more like a protagonist to like Mike, to like a Sully and Boo's protagonist.
That's why then, I mean, he hasn't said this himself, but I'm pretty confident that's the main reason why Dan Scanlon, when told to make a Monsters Inc. Sequel / prequel, he instead decided, I'm gonna go for a prequel because there's potential in fleshing out Mike, since he's the one who didn't get much development in Inc.
And as much as I do wish they had gone down the sequel avenue, I do agree that
that's what Joe, but that's what Monsters at Work is for. So.
There's also, well, on that note, might as well mention, I think I noticed while I was looking for something the other day, someone did actually found storyboard concepts for a discarded prequel of Monsters Inc. And I'm kind of glad that they didn't go for that route, because the summation sounded a bit more like the that you saw in a direct video.
I'm guessing you're talking about the Circle 7 thing. That period. Well, I can tell you, there was a period. This was before they bought Pixar. There was a period where Disney was going to make a Toy Story 3 as well as a Monsters Inc. movie without Pixar's involvement. And that's the main reason why at the time Pixar and Disney were kind of having a falling out, right? It was Bob Iger who, when he took over for Michael Eisner, that patched things up with Pixar and said, no, we're going to cancel this shit, we're going to throw away these...
I don't know if it was supposed to be in that kind of period of time, because I did not look at too many details, but ideally the story was supposed to be a mixture of Mike and Sully...
For beating an old stick.
Nice bread with juicy maggots.
Okay then.
Okay.
Go back to yourself then. Again, the plot was supposed to be mostly about Mike and Sully getting instead trapped in the real world. Basically from
that's
the
the
other
one.
side. Yeah. They have to return and forge potential alliance even with Randall and stuff like the Yeti or the Bigfoot. And along the way, one major recurring plot point was that hilariously Mike was supposed to get married to his girlfriend, but he can't. Like, oh god,
no.
It sounds annoying just thinking about.
No, that's one of the Pixar-related movies that Disney was making without Pixar's involvement. That immediately after the patching up of Bob Iger, John Lasseter immediately canceled those. So.
I've always held, in regards to Monsters University, I've always held that it's a good movie on its own. It's not the best prequel because some stuff doesn't match up the best to the original. Like, Mike in like University is absolutely dead set on like getting a position, so you would think he puts everything into it, but then in Monsters Inc. he kind of slacks off with work, despite the fact that University established him as the more diligent of the two. Then you got stuff like the bits with Randall in the prequel compared to how we get to the point that he is willing to murder those two in Monsters Inc. Like, again, University, great movie. I don't think it's the best prequel in matching up with stuff. Oh, what does he have to say?
I did not.
But Smeagol did.
Riveting.
Yes, he did.
Care to share some?
No.
One with fat maggots. Here, they're nice. Pick them out.
You are.
Aw, how nice. Gollum's made a friend. So how soon until he dies?
That's the thing, Jova. It's not that he dies, it's just that we split off from him.
And never hear from him again?
into the
Considering
sewers,
it's supposed to be, you know, a ruler from one of the kingdoms of the east, I get the idea, yes. You know,
carts and off through the gates.
I'm still wondering if that's him lying through his teeth, potentially.
But even if you somehow made it to the carts, the drivers always check their deliveries. And when they find you, it's over. What you
Well,
need
you're just full of
is a
optimism,
cart
aren't you?
One who is in on your plan. One you can trust.
Is he a cart driver?
No, I have no desire to die for you.
fair enough.
From the execution chamber into the sewers, but how do we get there? What's this bird mean? Some birdhouse that leads to the chamber. What's he like, the sorcerer in the tower?
I don't know. But I once heard a story about an unlucky deserter. He was brought into the tower. The Candleman asked him some kind of riddle question. Poor man couldn't answer. So, the sorcerer ripped his heart out with his bare hands.
Jesus.
Oh,
Wait, so you
Temple of
need to stop
Doom.
writing for game shows.
Don't get it, do you?
Get the answer wrong, and we fucking ripped your heart out. Jeez.
It was that Doctor Who episode about
You are the
game
Wicked
shows. Goodbye.
Weeks later.
What time is it?
Did Frank Miller took over? Like, seriously, what the fuck is up with the time scale of this thing?
I am
ATO,
looking.
could you imagine what a Doctor Who version, what that version of Who Wants to Be a Billionaire would be like? 50 questions to £1 million, but we actually took your money. If you get it wrong, you lose that money.
Yeah, the pound when you lose is instead the pound of your flesh.
Then again, if this was Frank Miller, would have a flashback to like a week later, and then would have a flashback within that flashback of like a day before, within that week.
All in the meantime, Galadriel looks in the mirror, you know, in the pool mirror, and said, "I have a date with Celeborn. I have a date with Celeborn. How cool is that?"
Don't get me started on what Takeshi's castle would be like.
Alright, so let's follow the orc.
I know it's not the biggest detail, but I've also noticed that the faces do not emote wet.
What?
Okay, he just
you couldn't even. Oh, Jesus Christ!
If you can't animate him going through a door barricade, don't put it there. Holy crap!
It's the same problem with Lightning Returns as with the cutscene in which Lightning uses the phone. Like, there are better tricks so that you can move the camera around to mask away a bad effect, and instead we did not do it.
Again, it's like you said earlier. This game, even when it has a perfect out, shoots itself in the foot.
Alright, everybody, in the next part, we meet the Candleman.
Oh no, he's gonna illuminate us to death.
See you then.
Will this game actually get better by then?
Yeah. See ya.
That's